We're actually a real brokerage. We operate Lake Homes Realty as a brokerage. It's the agents on the website are ours, and we focus on lake real estate, waterfront, near waterfront. We've been on the Inc. 5000 7 times. We're focused on niche, which is an unusual and really nobody's done niche on scale in real estate before. We're pioneering that.
Welcome to Future Fuzz, the digital marketing podcast.
All right, welcome in. I'm Vince Quinn, and today we're talking about qualifying leads and managing long sales cycles. And joining us for this conversation is Glenn S. Phillips. He is the CEO of Lake Homes Realty. Glenn, welcome to Future Fuzz.
Hey, Vince, excited to hear. My wife says I have lots of words. She'll be happy I use some of them up with you.
Yeah, that's all I'm here for. I'm just here to tire you out, right? Like, I mean, you know, like grandparent watching grandkids, you just want to get them home to the kids so they can pass out. Like, that's the goal for today. So I'm just keeping you distracted. It's going to be the longest episode we've ever had, Glenn. I'm planning that right now. So, well, as we get into it, let's use some of these words a little bit. I mean, first off, just give people an overview of what Lake Homes Realty is, what you're all about.
So most people, if you don't live at the lake, but you're thinking about it, probably have found us online at lakehomes.com. And they think we're a portal like a Zillow or realtor.com, but we're actually a real brokerage. We operate Lake Homes Realty as a brokerage. It's the agents on the website are ours. And we focus on lake real estate, waterfront, near waterfront. We've been on the Inc. 5000 7 times. Is one of the fastest growing. And then we also added in multiple states, Beach Homes Realty at beach-homes.com. And then the newest one that we're just kind of getting filling our foundation on is Mountain Homes Realty in a number of states at mountainhomesrealty.com. So we're focused on niche, which is an unusual and really nobody's done niche on scale in real estate before. We're pioneering that.
Yeah, so you guys then, from my common parts, because I'm like around real estate here and there. I've had real estate clients, things like that. But you guys basically have agents that are located all across the country then that can help you out with mountain houses, lake houses, like all this different kind of the fun stuff, right?
The fun stuff. It's an unusual market because it's a real long sales cycle. I call it discretionary housing. No one has to spend that money for shelter because there's a premium to be paid for these properties, but they do. And these are people with money. Over half our transactions are cash.
Interesting. Okay. So, let's peel it back a little bit first, just from the idea of, you mentioned the sales cycle is long, and I know it is, but like, how long is it really?
Our rule of thumb is the first time an agent speaks with someone, while some people move like that, the average is about 2 years. And they may have been on our website for 1 to 5 years before that. We've had some agents tell us, they've been working with somebody for 8 to 10 years before they find that property. So,
oh my God.
Unlike most real estate where somebody's moving really quick and they need to move because their job made them change cities, or they got a baby on the way, or they're older and they can't do stairs. Those people buy in a hurry. So most people in real estate think about, a lead comes in, they're probably going to do something in 90 days. We're very much a different tempo, but it also means you can build a repeatable, defendable sales pipeline.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you do that, right? Because like that approach, because a lot of people and probably plenty of people listening, they've got these B2B cycles that they're dealing with. And for them, it might be, 9 months, a year, things like that. Like 2 years is such a long time, and 7 years if you're talking about all that lead up to it. So, yeah, I mean, tell me a little bit more about this methodology, this whole process to go navigate all of this.
So we think about this in 2 ways about the long cycle. One of them is the consumer who wants to buy or sell a property. And then the second one, we can come back to it, is how we engage agents who can engage this philosophy. And the agents who join us on average are seasoned, experienced agents who, after a couple of years, double their income because we've got a different approach. So we're going to do several things to do engagement. One of them, of course, is the websites. Since it's a discretionary, it's aspirational. People will come and shop and shop and shop. So we've had millions of people use the website, and it's really good traffic. So part of this is about the power of niche and focus. You're kind of looking for one of these properties, or you're not. Mm-hmm. So when we see data that's provided that compares our site to other real estate websites that are general, they have a lot more traffic than we do, but ours is far more engaged. If you do a Google search or a Bing search and you look for Lake Homes for sale and you click ours, you're kind of looking for that. as opposed to I'm just looking for some houses.
And that can be all over the place. So you mentioned the agents for this then. I mean, you're talking about experienced agents specifically that tend to come in and then do, much better than they were before. So first off, why do you choose experienced agents? Why is that important?
So when we built the business, we were brought in by some investors to take what was going to be a portal like a Zillow for lakes. And there were some problems with it. And we came up with 15 months of what would a brokerage of the future look like. How would we do this with legal and marketing challenges coming up, as well as we decided most real estate brokerages are very similar to casinos in their business model. They need a lot of agents and hope somebody, and if few of them sell, you get a whale that makes more money and you lose money, that's okay. It gets more people in the door. And those brokerages are not really in the real estate business. They're in the agent business. And they just need more and more agents paying them a little bit and hope somebody sells something. Now, ours was, let's do this in unison. Let's get agents in with the power of the web and the fact that many people buying a discretionary house may live quite some distance away, whether they're retiring or they're looking for a weekend home. There's distance involved, and they may not even be familiar with what the lakes are called. So if we can get them into our ecosystem and help them online with the web and then deliver them over to a seasoned agent who's going to know things about that lake that is almost unsearchable. Two identical houses outside of any major city in a neighborhood are going to probably be fairly comparable houses. But at the lake, the location, you could have two identical houses on two different parts of the lake, and the value of those houses could be drastically different.
Yeah. So then you've got these agents. So basically people are encountering the site. They're interested in a lake home. They've got some range to it, right? Like, hey, I'm willing to fly or whatever it might be. So you're going to, so what does it look like then from that idea of you're talking about like they're engaging with it to then placing them with an agent? Really, how does that step by step, to whatever degree you feel is appropriate? How does that work?
They'll come through the website, and we're going to capture those. We're going to deliver them to the agent as quickly as possible, but we're also going to put them into our sales, our CRM, and our sales automation system, which is designed for a long sales cycle, and yet not interfere with that agent calling them up, just like any kind of salesperson calling up. You're going to get some drip, but we don't want to bug the crap out of them. We want to see their open engagement. We want to be helpful. That's a lot of, we're not trying to say, hey, you need to buy a house. It's like, let's tell you about what's going on at the lake. Here's some interesting things that are going on. Because people, really these properties, lake, beach, mountain, are gateways to experiences that they want.
Yeah. And so with that then, for these people, because you mentioned sometimes they want it, but they might need 5 years until they're ready to buy it. So like when it comes to this qualification process then, how do you go about that? Like how do you talk to the agents about that?
And we have a variety of people who are good at this and some that are not as good. So we spend a lot of investment in training them to be successful, to not say, oh, I talked to them and they're just not interested right now. That's normal. You should keep talking to them, but don't be a pest. As we said once before, you want to be the guy, but not that guy.
Yeah.
So we went to, what we're looking at is be of value. So I tell my agents, I say, many people in sales of anything or marketing are interrupters and not of value. Value is something that entertains us or helps us. A funny commercial is valuable, makes us laugh. We don't have those, but so what do we do of value? My position is you think about what you want to say to our clients. Think of it this way. So Vince, if I dropped by one morning and said, I need 2 minutes of your time, here's $100, you'd probably go, okay. And if I did that every day, you'd probably this guy brings me $100 for 2 minutes. I do this every day. I'm cleaning up because it's a value. So instead of $100, what else can we do that would be valuable to them and not let me tell you how great I am? Because that's not valuable.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are some of those things then? How do you tell people how the value is?
Sure.
There? Yeah.
So we can let them know the markets change. Now, they're big national headlines, but even different areas of a lake or up and down a beach, those are micro markets. So might be say, hey, Vince, I know you're not ready to sell, but here's a complimentary market analysis. The market keeps changing. Here's what your house is probably worth right now. Unsolicited, handwritten on the envelope. It's really personal. You feel like, some person sent this to me, not some machine cranked it out. we've done webinars at times, how to protect your investment. You own a lake home. We'd love to list it as well. But let's talk about when is a good time to sell one of these properties? What are the headwinds? People say, oh, you should always put houses for sale in the spring. Well, we actually do a lot of business in the fourth quarter.
Mm.
So these are myths that people don't really know, but everybody, and the real estate agents across the country, many of them are not overly informed about the details. So we stay up on what's going on, and there's all these headlines about lawsuits and what are commissions, and answering questions for people in advance of when they have the question, and do it in a way that's an occasional drip so you stay top of mind. You don't want to just be pounding them and then ghost them. Some of our agents they may have a dinner and invite all their past clients. Some of them may get an ice cream truck and bring it to the park, send out a card and say, I'm paying for ice cream for everybody who wants to show up at the park for 2 hours.
Future Fuzz is sponsored by SalesSource, B2B pipeline management and sales growth for your business.
Yeah, I like how you guys do business. You're handing me $100 bills for 2 minutes of my time. You're giving me ice cream. Like I feel well taken care of, Glenn. This is an experience. So, okay. So, when it comes to that idea then, because a lot of people, when you think of like an agent or some people, they just might think of like a salesperson that's on their team. Sometimes as much as it is a team, it can feel independent. In a sense, like how do you balance this idea of having all of this information and this kind of approach and this regular engagement and keeping all of these agents sort of unified? How do you build this consistency in this kind of information that you're, giving to people?
I would think the real estate industry kind of overtly does something that happens to most businesses in their sales and marketing teams. In real estate, these agents are coached. You must build your own personal brand. But what that really does is make them less effective. There are a few people who pull that off, but most of them are all kind of, I say, so I'm an Auburn guy, and I'll go to a game wearing orange. And if you're in the helicopter flying around, you say, pick me out. Well, it's just all this sea of colors. But if there was one block over there that was the brand, you go, what's that big block of blue over there? And then within that's the pieces you need. So we try to tell people everybody knows a bunch of real estate agents, or if you're selling something else, everybody knows a ton of people probably or businesses. So what you need to do is we want to work in conjunction with our brand to give them force and size and authority. But then they are the individual with the relationship. We're not trying as a brand to build a deep relationship. Our agents will do that, but we need to get them to us and to that agent first. So, our agents compete for listings. And so one of the things they can do while they have a personal relationship, they know the local market, they can take in analytics from our website that would say something like, Vince, you're selling your house here at Smith Lake, Alabama, or Lake Livingston, Texas. I can show you the traffic on our website specifically shopping this lake. And did you know the people in 100 different cities shop in this lake right now? We know more about where these people are because they've come to us, and I will put your house in front of them.
Wow. Okay. So you have this level of sophistication, then you are empowering people and like have this great balance. There's a sense of competition that I'm hearing, which I like, and makes sense. And then from the other side of it too, because like getting back to this can be a 2-year cycle on average, right? So when you're talking about like not just qualification, but almost impatience, and is it requalifying? Is it like how do you get people to truly stick with that and maintain the patience? And, how do you evaluate those things over a 2-year cycle?
So our assumption is if they've engaged, they're probably qualified, but there's things you can listen to like with any customer. We don't necessarily ask them if they have money, but there's usually ways people will behave. You ask them more about their timing and tell them it's okay if it's not right now. Because if you're looking for your dream home, you're probably not going to settle, even if you could write the check today. And many of these people can. Even if they're taking a loan, they can afford it. And otherwise, they'd just be getting a more basic house off in a suburb. So what we want to do in that qualification is actually be a little bit more focused on, are we protecting our time? We'll spend time with them, but we don't need to spend 10 days in a month looking at 400 houses. They're not shopping. They're overwhelmed. So the idea here is if you're more use your time wisely, and it starts to make that work. Let's not go see 20 houses this weekend because you can't figure out what you want. Let's look at 3 and decide what did we learn? Should we be doing more of this or less of that?
Got
Some
it.
of our agents, some will even qualify, say, before you come down here, not through a Zoom or interaction, but just on the phone, said, look, get you a cocktail, a wine, a beer, a coffee. Let's sit down. You tell me the houses you've picked out. I'm going to go through and see how well I know this lake. I'll tell you, oh, that house looks good online. You're not going to want to be, that's a real busy neighborhood. You said you wanted quiet. Let's take that one out. So they may qualify them with working with that client, which is also doing a case of what is it you really seek? A lot of real estate agents go, oh, you said you wanted to see 10 houses. Let's go look at 10 houses. Well, that's hauling and hopping and hoping. Hauling and hoping is what it's called. Let's just put them in the car and hope they buy something. No, let's be of service, because part of our job here is to get them in what they want, not force us to be their chauffeur while they try to figure it out.
Yeah, I would think for a purchase like that, people have almost an unexplainable taste in the sense of, I like houses that are a certain way and certain rooms designed, like they're going to have all these opinions, but not being an expert in the space, they don't really know what that is or what that looks like until they see it. So you're then guiding those people through. Is that pretty good description of it?
You're trying to get product, think about it, it's classic product client fit, and something that every one of them, unless you buy in a condo, which is more common at the beach than the lake, but they're in both. Condos may be a little bit more standardized, but if you go around the lake, like I said, the same house in 2 places will be a very different experience.
And so for me, it's interesting too, because with this area, it's nice because you have all of these agents that have access to all of these different homes. You can take people as much as they need it and it's warranted. Yeah. You can take them to all of these different houses and give them the proper insight and guide them through. Like I've been going through the car buying process right now. I'm looking to get a new car. It is a nightmare, Glenn. Everything about it sucks. I hate it. Every salesperson should hate me because I'm always I'm asking all of these different questions, but you're also limited to the inventory of that singular manufacturer. You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, well, you're not going to tell me about a Subaru because you're Chevy and vice versa. So I can't get really a good and fair comparison from either of you. So now I've got to talk to a Chevy dealership. I'm talking to a Subaru. I'm talking to something else. I want to see what those different cars are. I have to kind of make the assessments myself. And then I have to coordinate with multiple people, which means text from multiple people and calls from multiple people. And that means I'm ignoring multiple people. And it's just, it's a nightmare. But like to have everything in one place like that, it gives you a lot of freedom. Is there a point though where it does feel like, people like me, these tire kickers, right? Like what do you do about those things in the process? And when do you what are ways to tell that that's really what people are?
And it can be very hard with this long sales cycle. My approach to our agents is some of them have their own, they're really good at this. Some are better than others. Some are really exceptional at it. Part of this is, again, just be aware of your time, because it can be hard to determine if they're a tire kicker or they don't want to show their hand, because sometimes they'll go the complete, well, we're going to probably buy in 5 years when we retire, unless we happen to find something that's perfect, then we'll go ahead and get it. And that's probably a real thing. That's exactly what they're doing. And they can wait. My wife and I shop that way. We can buy what we want, when we want. And many times we've looked for even just a home around the office when we've moved months. Now, what we try to do is not take a real estate agent's time. We do a lot more of our own homework, a lot of our digging around. Even before we got into the real estate business, we were doing other things, and we did a lot of our homework. In fact, one thing that does happen today about pricing is that today's buyers, including you and your vehicles, are more informed than any time in human history, which also means you can smell a bad deal. Like, the home inventory across the country's grown. And people say that's a sign of it's a good sign. Well, we did need the inventory, but it's grown because not as many people are willing to pay the overpriced prices. So there's a huge amount of inventory in the U.S. of real estate of overpriced property. It's just like a product sitting on your shelf. It's not going anywhere because they're just not going to pay that.
Yeah. Well, for people who are looking to get a good deal, whether it's a mountain house, a lake house, whatever they might need, where should they be going, Glenn?
Well, they're going to come to our website, and then they're going to talk to an agent and explain. Here's an interesting thing, and we haven't had the economy right now. You're not going to get a deal on a foreclosure in these markets. People pay cash, or they could afford it, or even if they take a loss on it, if they discount it, somebody will buy it. It's not going to just sit idle unless, so yeah, it's interesting. Somebody say, hey, how do I get a best price on something? And the reality is that almost never happens. They're almost never distressed. And so that leverage is gone for the buyer to have over the seller. Even if there's a bunch of inventory, if it's overpriced, the buyer doesn't have leverage because the seller's refusing to accept reality.
Yeah.
And the seller doesn't have leverage because they've overpriced it. And they, somebody will, one of the odd anecdotal thing is the number of people selling it who are offended by a low offer. And I tell our agents that they should be telling them, you know what's really offensive? No offers. At least somebody's giving you a sign. Are they lowballing you? Maybe. Counter it. Make a discussion. Negotiate. Don't be, it's not personal. They don't know you. Well, they might, but probably not.
Yeah. But no, there is something to be said for at least having these conversations and getting an understanding of somebody's actual perspective, because they are interested in, hey, is it too high? Is it too low? What do they like? What do they not like? You can do something with that. When it's absolute silence, it's like, oh man, we are way off here. And
yeah, we find
things are bad.
That if you hadn't got even though the buyers for our property may have to travel, like I said, they fly in, they'll drive in at all price points, whether it's multi-million or it's 200,000 in different markets. These are wildly varying price points. But once they come in, they see them on our websites or other websites. They may need a few more days to get down to the lake or the beach or the mountain to see it. They'll express some interest. But if you go a month and you haven't, or even 3 weeks and you haven't gotten engagement, you're 8 to 10% or more overpriced for the current market.
With all of that then, because for the people who are trying to make sure they're selling it at the right price, buying at the right price, where should they be heading to, Glenn?
Somebody who knows what they're doing for that market. Every market's so different. You want to find, no matter what you're doing, there's great value in expertise. And so you come to some website like lakehomes.com, those agents are going to know what they're doing. If you go to some other websites, you may get an expert. They may have been doing it for 20 years. We work with a lot of great agents from other. But in unusual properties, find the expert in the unusual thing. Like, if I had a little surgery on my finger recently and I went to a hand surgeon, not my general practitioner.
Yeah. So that's what it's all about. So make sure you go to lakehomes.com. And Glenn, thank you so much for sharing all this information. Great conversation and really appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in and making the choice to listen to this podcast. If you liked what you've heard today, please don't forget to subscribe.